So they poisoned my pregnancy in the back of the Montgomery County Jail for 10 months. They arrested me for shooting a white man, my baby daddy, September 18, 2018. I was pregnant, and they lied about it in the jail, and my baby's still alive, and all the hospitals lying about it. They know I got YouTube channels, and they still lying about it and trying to all cover it up. And then they got cookies and all of that stuff. I got cavities and stuff. I mean, it don't hurt, but they doing it on purpose, trying to have my jaw swollen or whatever. And so they had put criminals up to bringing me into these houses when I got out of the jail. And my sister Shakina was one of them. She may not have no charges, but she still is a child. She had helped to abduct my son, and they trying to watch my every move and come all up in the house. And I had my own room, places, and they was all conspiring to have me out of my out of any home where I could have privacy. And then have me up in this living room where anybody could just come up through this little sheet on the wall and come up in here and try to make it seem like they helping me when they really trying to get charges and stuff dropped. So I'm gonna just go and through the list of the people that Conroe and HPD and Texas PD brought me up in their house because they dropped the charges against me. They charged me with endangering my child, and they charged me with just Lord help me, Jesus, assault with a deadly weapon for protecting myself while pregnant. And then so they decided to poison the baby, lie about my Austin, my white baby daddy, attacking us in a public place and everything. And I've been crying out about it, but people they are so evil to where they just lying about it all. But the charges was dropped, and they tried to starve my pregnancy. And then bring cookies, have me up in there with cookies and bringing me chocolate and trying to have my jaw swollen, uh, and then keep not have no real food, and then be sitting there all in my face about every little thing that I'm eating, and bringing in these trifling ass black women trying to fight with me, knowing that I'm pregnant and I'm small, and that's why I'm always lying down. So they over here, they gonna try to kill me. And then they got Henry bringing me up in here. He met me when I was getting away I was getting away, and I was in Fifth Ward. And I was showing my stomach and everything, that I'm pregnant. And so they been bringing me up in the houses, and God said these people are black terrorists. So this man charges that he have is public intoxication, and they reset his court date to try to drop his charges for public intoxication and supposedly disturbing the peace with public intoxication. And he's coming all up in here relentlessly trying to do whatever the courts and people done told him to do, and pretend like he ain't doing nothing because he want his little charges dropped. And then they had inmates in there poisoning my trays in the jail, and the people in the infirmary was sitting there working with them and lying and poisoning my trays. But the first person who house they brought me in was a man named Sterling from Montgomery County. He had a sole charge because they made me lose my apartment. I had to stay with my little boy. My little boy is I'm African and Indian. His daddy is white and black. His daddy have all these charges. I'm pressing charges on his daddy, but his grandmother, his white grandmother Cynthia Vera, is trying to get me first. So they've been trying to keep me from eating a whole lot in their houses and bringing in tampered food. And these houses, I don't even think are really even their own properties, because it's like they keeping it for like a month or whatever. And then try to tell me that I gotta leave. And they kept me from going to the shelter so they could bring me up in people's houses and be doing this. So the first man named was Sterling from Montgomery County, Texas. He had assault charges. The next man was Kiwi from Conroe, Texas. He had rape charge. Then they had Reverend Stewart. He was in prison for life. Then they had his their family involved, and then they had and then they had a man named Pug involved. He was in jail for murder, and he was their family. And then so they had dropped me off with my sister, Shakina Jones, and she was bringing me in her house. And like I said, they had old food in the house and putting me out the house, trying to all lie. And she was over there trying to make it seem like she didn't know that I was pregnant. Like I said, this is why I said she abducted my child, because she had brought me into a room saying that I could stay in the room, and then tried to hurry up and put me out of the home before I had to go to the custody hearing after the charges was dropped to get my baby, because I raised my son in my own apartment. And she come over there jealous to my apartment, and then she left me in the back of the jail and was conspiring against me with Cynthia while they was back there poisoning me and my pregnancy in the back of the jail, and lying and saying that I wasn't pregnant, and then trying to sue me for my child. Cynthia was suing me for my child in Austin. They want to go running up behind my white baby daddy that they don't even know. And then when I get out of the jail, knowing that he was abusing me, but of course they were jealous of me and my son and my apartment and everything. So, yeah, they had apartment and everything, but like they just were jealous, period. And so then when I got out of the jail, they told me I had to go stay with somebody in my family. Then my sister would not come and pick me up. She came, brought me some money, and then tried to say she couldn't tell that I was pregnant. And then they had me going up in criminals' houses trying to fight me, and trying to have sex with me, and trying to keep me from eating, and trying to stage all these altercations where I would have had to be rearrested for something that happened with them, and then go back to the jail, or try to paint me out to be a mental patient where I would have had to go back inside of the jail and be murdered while pregnant with this child that's still alive, and that they starved because they were poisoning me in the jail. So I lost 50 pounds back there, and I was almost completely flat when I was in the jail. So I ended up calling my sister and asking her, could I come to her house? And she was kind of like, acting funny, but then said I could come. And then they had set it up to where they wanted to know where I was trying to get my ultrasound, and the lady all of a sudden was lying about the ultrasound, trying to get nobody not to confirm it, and my sister was trying not to look to see the baby moving all in my belly and everything. And then she conspired to put me out before I could get a job and go to the custody hearing to get my son back. Talking about, I didn't know you was going to get your son back, when my white baby daddy was slinging my little baby upside down and punching my baby all in the house, and attacking me, which is why I shot him in the leg, and they dropped the charges, didn't want to bring me to the trial. But she over there talking about, she ain't know I was going to get my son back, and then trying to put me out of her house pregnant. And then I didn't know the little sinister plots that they had. Then when I went to the custody hearing in December, they was talking about, I'm homeless, I ain't got no money, I ain't got nobody to help me out, and giving my baby away to Cynthia. And God said that my sister Shakina Jones and Cynthia O'Vera abducted my child, because first of all, and he said that she came all over to my apartment before Austin got out of prison. And it was me and my baby up in my little 2-bedroom apartment. She had not been in my house, and he was like, and next thing you know, she's over here conspiring with Cynthia against Andrea's apartment. And then because the state was supposed to give me an apartment, because they never should have arrested me for protecting myself and defending myself, and then falsifying police reports, and then poisoning me for 10 months in the damn jail. And she's over here conspiring with Cynthia to put me out of her little place where I had a room where I was staying for a couple of weeks, trying to, wait to get me a job, get my little custody here, and have my baby, and get my and get my son back. And she's over there putting me out of the house, having stale food up in the house, conspiring with them to not confirm my pregnancy, and then having me going up into these white judge courtroom, and then illegally giving Cynthia my little boy, because they were jealous and didn't want to see Cynthia doing anything for me, didn't want to see nobody doing nothing for me. So they conspired to take my son from me. And then God said that she helped to abduct my child. And so then I had to go to a man house named Jakiba, and there were all kind of men getting cars, and a man named Pharaoh with sex trafficking charges, trying to force me to walk the streets and prostitute myself so that I could not get my son, and leaving me outside where men could try to have sex with me and say it was a black man baby, and lie about the pregnancy and steal the baby, or just take me somewhere and have me murdered. And then they brought me to a man named Jakiba's house in Chambers County, 3123 Eagle Ferry, Chambers County. And then there was a house full of men, and Jakiba had warrants, and he had charges for marijuana. And then Travis had just been released from prison, and then his brother had shot somebody, and then they was giving people car. Judy got a car, and then they was all giving them money, like paychecks, like $500 here and all of that, to be bringing me up in there and forcing me to have sex with them, and then trying to keep me from having food, and then trying to deny my pregnancy. And then they denied my pregnancy again at Chambers County Clinic, and then all the hospitals in Baytown. And then they were telling Jakiba and them to put me out of the house, and not have a room, or not bring me to the custody hearings. And then Travis Gums was in there pulling out guns on me, and they were back there shooting and terrorizing me in the home in Chambers County. And then they were saying that I needed to pay rent, and saying that I didn't have a job, and I did. I had a job at Sonic. And then they were saying their car was breaking down, that they couldn't take me to work, or that they could take me to work on the day of the custody hearing to try to make me miss the custody hearing. But I ended up going to both the custody hearings for my son, and Judge Tracy Gilbert illegally gave this white woman who told the police not to help me while her white son got out of prison and was abusing me pregnant in my home and abusing my child. And she was being racist and calling the police and working with the police to try to have him kill me in my apartment for my son, my car, and my home. And my sisters and them my sister was jealous of my life with my son, and the fact that I had my own house and car and everything. So she knew that this white man had just got out of prison and tried to kill me in my home. And that they had me back there poisoning me pregnant. And she's so damn jealous of me my whole life that she calling Cynthia to be in cahoots with this white woman who put a hit out on me. And they was in there having inmates poisoning my trays, and correctional guards poisoning my trays for 10 months in the back of the Montgomery County Jail in Conroe, Texas. So then I had to leave their house because the man Travis Gums pulled a gun out on me and threatened to shoot me in my head for crying for my son, and trying to keep me from the custody hearing. And so I left there and had Jakiba's brother, drive me off with the woman Judy that had received a car for being involved with all of this. And they brought me to Reverend Stewart's house in Conroe, Texas, and dropped me off there, claiming that they would not come and get me from the custody hearing or take me to the custody hearing, trying to keep me from actually showing up to get my baby boy back, because they know that Austin was attacking my son when I shot him in the leg. So they had tried to falsify the witness statement and get rid of all the evidence, 911 calls, and they tried to they staged the police report and then had me back there trying to paint me out to be a mental patient while they were poisoning me in my pregnancy. Trying to cover up the fact that he was also attacking me while pregnant. And then try to give Cynthia, this white woman, my son, and she was over there chasing me around with everybody in Conroe and having me poisoned through the water and the food, and try to have the racist white police arrest me for anything to try to take me to the jail and have me killed while he was in prison. And then Shakina had came to visit me around this time. She never did come to visit me, and the Lord let me know that she was already plotting on me when she came to so-called try to visit me or whatever. He said that she bought me a little groceries when I was struggling for some food, and next thing you know, she's over here helping people to help this white woman abduct my little boy from me. And then so they had this officer falsify the police record when they arrested me, and put a fake story of me on the news, and then lied for this young white man that just got out of prison for assault. He have charges for assault, family violence, for assaulting me, Class C rape, and he was charged with assault on a public servant when he was really assaulting me in my home. And he had charges for theft and drugs, and he have charges for, like I said, raping me. He have charges for unlawful restraint, trespassing. He was convicted for assault on a public servant, convicted for unlawful restraint, and they over here trying to switch it around and try to make me catch charges for stuff, and then trying to have my pregnancy starved, and all of this so that they could try to save this young white man who was my baby daddy, who tried to kill me in my home for my apartment that I had been living in while he been in and out of prison in the county for hurting me, and then trying to kill me for my son and for my vehicle that his mother and them had given to me, and killing me for my stuff and my home and my wealth, and trying to give me his identity, and trying to kill me because his mother didn't want to do nothing for me. And they know that being that I had my son, I was putting him on child support and trying to get help from the state and have my independence until I get on my feet, because I was pregnant with a little small child, and the state didn't want to give me no help. They wanted to give this white woman my baby, and give his daddy my baby. So they was allowing him to attack me, to kill me in my apartment, without helping me with any 911 calls or anything, and family calling them and asking them could I come to their house while I was pregnant with my little boy when Melbourne, and trying to see if I could come stay with them because this young white man was abusing me. But it was all being set up for him to kill me, and for nobody to help me so that he could kill me, and then for my son and get him to this white woman. And let him have my apartment that his name was not on the lease, and he had been going to prison and to the jail for hurting me, with other people calling and reporting it and him being arrested, and then with me calling at some point as well, and so he got out of the prison for assault after I had raised my son in this apartment and was attacking me over an 8-week period, and raping me and hitting me while I was pregnant, and I am pregnant still. And so they were in there allowing him to attack me and refusing to make him leave the home, and he fled from the police, and I told the police he was in there assaulting me in the home, and he was in there attacking my baby, and they're over here trying to save him because I'm out of the jail now. The state gonna have repercussions for poisoning my pregnancy, and then but my main thing is that I'm pressing charges on his white baby, on my white baby daddy, on his white father, Austin John Metter, who's a few, not too many. He's younger than me, but he's grown, and he's trying to rely on these black women who are jealous of me, and my family members who are jealous of me, and he did not even know them, and he's trying to rely on his mother and the racist police and court to try to cover for him and have me arrested and killed and have the baby starved and killed by criminals so that he does not have to go to prison, because God told me to press charges, that I'm pressing charges on him for what he was doing to me, for hitting me, and I'm pregnant, and for just attacking us in general. He's going back to prison, and he's going to go for a long time, and he's going to learn a lot of lessons in jail. And so, being that they have done all of this wickedness to try to hurt me for him and take his side because he's white, and they are jealous of me and my son, and jealous of me having my own place, and trying to keep the baby from me because they don't want me to have anything with and have the baby. And they trying to go through with this whole killing Andrea thing. So basically they were trying to keep me from putting out the evidence of what really took place. They tried to make my death look like a suicide in the back of the Montgomery County Jail and in the front of the Montgomery County Jail, trying to make it seem like somebody sued me for my baby and not that I shot my baby daddy. So they let him sue me for my child while I was still in the jail, and he attacked another woman and was arrested and was not showing up to the custody hearings because he was smoking crack. So his mother, Cynthia Olvera, sued me in Austin for the baby while I was in there fighting these charges and pregnant and being poisoned after she done put a hit out on me in there. And the state and all poisoning my trays and got inmates in there poisoning my trays and just being retarded, trying to get charges dropped that they had and that they were guilty for. And so they brought me into the courtroom, and I did a hearing against Cynthia in Austin, and I won the case, proving that Austin had been abusing me and my son, and that I had not lost custody of my son, that I had custody of my son, and that the only reason why Cynthia had my son was because she had to come and get my son from the scene of the shooting, where I had to run into a restaurant and I had to run from my home when he was attacking me and go into a restaurant with my son, asking the man to call the police that my baby daddy was attacking me. So they over there was trying to stage it to make it look like I had that CPS had came and took my son because I was a prostitute or a drug addict, and then try to have me murdered in the jail and say that it was a suicide because CPS took my son from me, without telling the truth that, no, Andrea was arrested for shooting Austin for attacking her and the baby, and give her back her apartment and give her back her baby, and she's having a newborn, and then they're testifying against Austin so he can go to prison for a long time. And so they was all over there trying to be jealous. My sister was being jealous, and Cynthia wanted the baby, and everybody else was helping and conspire to cover up the fact that he was attacking me, and to cover up the fact that he was attacking the baby, and to cover up the fact that we were calling 911 in the house, and that he was fleeing from the police, and that I told the police he was assaulting me, and then to try to cover up the fact that I was pregnant by poisoning the trays and killing the baby, and the baby didn't die, the baby is still alive, denying the pregnancy, then having me back there 10 months and couldn't hide the fact that I was pregnant and going into labor and trying to stop the labor and gassing me in the cell and doing all of that mess. And then having hospitals deny my pregnancy and getting their dumbasses involved with this crap to deny pregnancy for Cynthia to keep my child, and then gave my child away after they dropped the charges against me August 2019, trying to hold me back there for 10 months to make it seem like I was not pregnant or I would have had this baby already. Then basically keeping me up and hoarded up in different people's homes, to where I could not get a job or confirm my pregnancy, and then having me go up into this custody hearing with Cynthia, where I had already won the case against Cynthia and Austin in the hearing, where I cross-examined them when I was in jail, and they made me represent myself in a custody battle while I was locked up on these criminal charges, and I won. And then they made me represent myself on the criminal charges because I never went to trial, and I was going back and forth with the district attorney with the evidence and everything about the 19-911 calls where Austin had attacked me all over Montgomery County, Texas. And there were 19-911 calls from myself and civilians and neighbors and people who had witnessed him assaulting me, and people who were calling to report him that day as well, and who saw and were involved in the struggle to help us while he was attacking me and my child, and I'm pregnant. So they all were just trying their best to be racist and trying their best to try to hurt the Black woman and be jealous, and make me lose my apartment where I lived for 3 years with my son. Austin came to my apartment where I was pregnant with my son at 6 months, and he had just got out for a rape charge for trying to rape me, and spent 3 months in the Montgomery County Jail for a probation violation where we had lost our first apartment for him assaulting me up in there, and got the assault family violence charge and got the rape charge over there. So, I was pregnant and left out on the streets because they evicted us, and he was on a 2-year felony probation for assault on a public servant because he assaulted a public servant while he was in jail for assaulting me on the assault family violence charge, but I did not press charges. And so Joseph Olvera paid for me a deposit to get moved into a new 2-bedroom apartment for me and my newborn child that I was pregnant with now while Austin was in jail. And I was working at Taco Bell, and I had slipped and fell, but I still was going to work, and I had started to bleed, and I went to the hospital, and they confirmed that Melbourne was still alive, and I also had been abused by Austin, so I could not continue to work, and I had to be on bed rest. And then I was in my apartment, my 2-bedroom apartment at 1301 Houston Street in Conroe, Texas, and and Joseph Olvera was paying the rent while I was on bed rest to give birth to Melbourne, Halo Metter. And when I was 6 months, I moved in there when I was about 2 months, April 2016. And Austin had been arrested December 2015 for assault family violence for assaulting me. And I had a temporary protective order. And Cynthia had just received a 2-year protective order for her property in Magnolia, Texas, because Austin had tried to assault her before Thanksgiving, and I was there. And he pulled out a butcher knife and chased Cynthia around the house with a butcher knife. And then the police were called, and Cynthia omitted the fact that he had chased her with the butcher knife, and then they just gave her a 2-year protective order to keep her to keep him off of her property for 2 years. And that protective order did not let up until after he had got out of prison, until a little bit before he was released from prison. So he would not have been allowed on Cynthia's property either for violence. And she had been calling the police prior to me even getting with him, from him burglarizing her home and stealing everything out of her home and assaulting his father, Joseph Olvera, assaulting and being violent in her home. To where she did not allow him in her home either. So now he was assaulting me at the Econo Lodge, trying to rape me, and a white woman called the police, and he was jumping on me in the Econo Lodge. The day that he got the charge for assaulting Cynthia, he was assaulting me in front of his grandmother's home in